Hi everyone, welcome to the 12th episode of Track Talk. Today's guest is Jake Cowden. He's 18 years old from Aurora, Ontario, and started go-karting when he was 10 years old. He made the jump into F1600 at 16, raced 2 seasons of that, winning the championship last year, and also winning the Team Canada scholarship to race the 2 biggest Formula Ford festivals in the world in the UK at Brands Hatch and Silverstone. Spent the off-season flat track snowmobile racing. He's super excited to be racing in the RCC with RySpec Racing. Welcome to Track Talk, Jake Cowden. Jake, how is the championship off season?
It's been great. I've been keeping busy with snowmobile racing, like the Villeneuves. So that's been keeping me fresh, and I'm ready to go for the car season.
I wanted to talk to you about that because we talked to Jack Polito and he does snowcross, but I know what you're doing on snowmobiles is a bit different. So why don't you kind of describe that?
Yeah. So what Jack does is snowcross. It's all about jumps and handling around the corners. What I do is a little bit faster. We race on flat ice oval tracks, so we're on sheer ice, either on lakes or man-made tracks. Our sleds are super low to the ground and they're offset to the right because we only make left turns. And honestly, I feel like it really helps me with car control in the wet because you're sliding through the corner, trying to keep it tight.
I know because Sam has explained this to me before, but in the Formula 1600s, you guys don't race on slicks, right?
No.
Right. So that's probably helped you there. Would this be your first year racing on slicks then?
This will be my first year racing on slicks. I'm a little nervous because I'm not sure how they're going to handle. I know they're going to be grippy, but my biggest fear is snap oversteer on these slicks with downforce. So like I said, I'm nervous, but I'm going to figure it out hopefully fairly quickly.
Have you done much testing during the off season with the Radical?
Nope, I have sat in the car once. I'm actually going tomorrow for my seat fitting. And we'll be down in Sebring, and we'll also be at Barber for 2 races before the FEL season. So we're going to be well prepared coming into it.
So have you driven those tracks before? Barber and Sebring?
Nope, only on the simulator. I've put tons of hours in.
That was my next question. Have you been putting lots of time in the sim for not only that, but also the FEL season?
Yes, I've been running every track we're going to run, although I have not been around the Toronto Indy on the sim.
Yeah, you're going to want to do that one. So what kind of mindset do you like to get into before a race?
Well, usually on the false grid when we're sitting there all belted in and hot, I like to close my eyes and I'll actually visualize a lap beforehand. And I find it just gets me ready for that opening lap. I know where all my braking points are. I don't know, it gets me prepared, gets me in the right calm headspace for the start of the race, which is very important because there's lots going on when all the cars are stacked up together.
If you could race in any motorsports era, what would it be? And what would the type of series or car be?
The 90s BTCC, specifically in the Volvo 850 wagon.
Okay, that is a specific answer that we haven't got yet. So why BTCC?
Because I'm a big Volvo guy, and that's really the pinnacle of Volvo in motorsports was in the 90s BTCC. I believe they entered in 94 with the 850, and I don't know, it's so cool, a wagon in a car race.
So what influenced that out of curiosity?
I'm just a big Volvo guy. Even when it doesn't come to race cars, we have 3 Volvos in the driveway. I love modifying my own daily driver, which is a Volvo. So I don't know. I love Volvos.
Have you owned them your whole life? Is that why? That's kind of like the car that you grew up in, or?
Yeah, my aunt bought a Volvo when I was born, and that was one of the first cars I was in. And we actually still have that car. My aunt gave it to us many years ago. So I don't know. We've had the same car since I was born, and I don't know. I'm attached to it.
Is there a famous driver out there you look up to, or maybe even compare yourself to off track, on track?
I don't know if I could compare myself, but I love Kimi Räikkönen and Jordan Taylor. Both of them, I just love their personalities. Kimi, I love hearing him yell over the radio. Not that I do that, but I just get a good laugh out of that. And Jordan Taylor, I just love his personality and his attitude, especially all the cool IMSA stuff he does.
I want to know a little bit about your background because you and I have never met before. So just tell me a little bit about where you came from, like was it Ontario? And then I guess when you caught the racing bug, and then, you know, your journey through motorsport up until now.
So I was born and raised in Aurora, Ontario here. And I started racing when I was maybe 10 or 11 years old. So that'll be 8 years now. And so basically, my dad did an entry-level arrive and drive go-kart program at Goodwood Kartways in Uxbridge. He'd bring home these medals, and I was fascinated as a kid by the medals, and I kept bugging him to sign me up for it because I wanted to do what my dad did, right? So eventually he signed me up, and I was hooked.
And did you kind of take a knack to it, or do you find that you had to, there was a learning curve for you and you had to try and, you know, work your way up?
I did a full year of practicing on my own, just laps and laps and laps. Basically, every day after school, my dad would take me, and I'd do like 100 laps a night throughout the summer, throughout the school year. And then eventually the next year, I got a newer go-kart, and I entered in the track club series, and I ended up, I think I finished around ninth or something that year overall with a best finish of third. And then the next year I went and I won the club championship, and then things started to go well from there.
And then, so where did you go from there?
From there, I started doing some bigger karting events, and everything kind of led up to 2020, where things went well for me. I ended up winning the Canada Cup. I was runner-up at the Dash for Cash. I won a Ron Fellows Series race. I won the Goodwood Track Championship. I won the Kart Stars Nationals both Saturday and Sunday. And I was runner-up in the Mosport Championship. But what got me started into cars was when I won the Kart Stars Nationals at Goodwood. The prize for that was a test drive in Anthony Simone's NASCAR Pinty Series car. So 16-year-old me got to go out in a NASCAR at Shannonville, having just gotten my G1 license a month ago. And here I am going around at a 600 horsepower NASCAR, and it was crazy, and I fell in love with cars. And then that same fall, I did a test with Britain West Motorsports in the 1600, and I felt good and comfortable. And so we looked for sponsors, and we got our budget together to run the 2021 season.
And I've always wanted to ask you this, but what kind of clicked or what changed on track and off track between your first and second year? Because the first year you really picked up the pace quick, and I think at the end of the year you're winning races and podiums. But then the next season you came and just annihilated everyone from start to finish. So what did you kind of figure out between there?
I think it was just my mindset. I was always so nervous in the first year. I was nervous to crash the car. I was just nervous racing wheel to wheel with others, because open wheel is can be pretty terrifying sometimes. But between 2021 and 2022, I really figured out how to get the most out of the car on the first lap, which is so important. It can break away from the field because draft is everything in F1600. And I think it was really figuring out how to get off the line and just go.
Where are you looking to go, like long term?
You're not the first person to ask, and I still don't have a good answer. I just really want to make a career in motorsports. So no matter what I'm racing, I just want to be paid to do it and be able to do it for as long as possible, right? So just my goal is to have a career anywhere racing.
And what are you most looking forward to about driving a Radical this year?
I'm not sure. I think I'm looking forward to the car. I haven't been in the car yet. Very, very excited. It's fun on the sim, so I'm assuming it's going to be fun in real life too.
So this is the hot lap section, rapid fire Q&A, and if you want to dive into any answers, feel free. But if you're ready, I'll start throwing them out. So first one, do you prefer wet or dry races?
Wet all the way.
Let's go. Do you want to dive into that one a bit? That's my favorite answer.
Oh, of course, yeah. I love just driving on the edge outside of the track. You make one little mistake and you're off. There's no room for error. And it seems like the driver who takes the biggest risk is going to get the biggest reward.
And snowmobiles and 1600 are definitely two good ways to get good in the wet too. What's most important to you, corner entry, apex, or exit?
That's a very good question. I love sending it in hard under the brakes into the entry. but when you hit that apex right, it feels great. But I think if you do a good entry in apex, the exit sorts itself out.
Bucket list track to drive.
I'd have to say Laguna Seca or Mount Panorama.
How about a bucket list event to attend as a fan?
I've always wanted to go to the Daytona 500. I just feel like that's such a cool event.
Favorite Mario Kart character to play?
I have always gone with Bowser. I like all the spikes on his back.
If you could use one Mario Kart power up on track in real life, what would it be?
I think it would be those speed boost mushrooms. It's like a shot of nitrous, you know? You just go.
Going down the back straight.
Exactly. It's like DRS.
I got some fan questions that came in. So one, are you going to be faster than Jonathan?
I don't know. We're not racing together, so that's gonna be it's gonna be tough to do if he's not on the track at the same time as me.
As an ex-Sprint West driver, I feel like you're supposed to say yes.
Who would you say has been the most influential person in your life when it comes to your racing career?
I would definitely hands down have to say my parents. My dad got me into racing. He's always wrenched for my go-kart, and he's always been there at the track with me. I've never been to the track without him. And also my mom. My mom helps me out with all the sponsorship stuff, and she helps me with my Alzheimer's fundraiser. So without the two of them, I wouldn't be racing.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your Alzheimer's fundraiser?
So this year will be my 4th year fundraising for the Alzheimer's Society of Canada. And in the past 3 years, through the racing community, we have raised $30,000. And this year, I'm excited. Again, every donation will be matched by the Galoni family, so we can make twice the impact. So it's great. I do it in honor of my grandmother, and it's a good cause to support.
And how would somebody donate?
Every year I put a link in my Instagram bio and Facebook bio, so you can find it at Jake Cowden Racing.
So last year, along with winning the 2022 F1600 Championship, you competed in the Team Canada Scholarship Shootout and won that. Went to England, raced at Brands Hatch in the Formula Ford Festival. So I just want you to talk about what it was like racing for your country in the biggest Formula Ford Festival in the world.
It was a crazy experience. Words can't even describe it. I was so proud to be in that Team Canada car with the red and white suit. It was unreal. Like when I first drove out onto Silverstone, I couldn't believe that I was actually there. I had to pinch myself in the car. It was crazy. The racing was just something else. Like it was so close, so tight. It was phenomenal.
And a lot of cars too, right? Like,
oh, there were a lot of cars. I believe there were over 100 cars entered in at Silverstone, I believe.
So did you do Silverstone and Brands Hatch, or did I just mix that up?
Yes, we did. Brands Hatch was first and Silverstone was second. Brands Hatch was amazing too. I did not expect all the elevation. Just racing on the simulator, even on a full motion sim, it does not do it justice. It's crazy.
Is that something that you had to register into or compete to get into, or were picked for?
Well, I was selected through a shootout process. So 6 Canadian drivers between the ages of 16 and 20 were invited out to the MoSport DDT track to race in the same cars, same track, and none of us had ever been in the cars or on that track. And we all had to go through a series of evaluations based on interview skills, just personality in general, and obviously our driving skills. And ultimately, I got selected as well as one other, and we were sent over to England to race in these 2 amazing events. And I can't thank everyone from Team Canada enough, especially Kelly and Brian, for making this happen.
For anyone interested, check out Team Canada Scholarship online, and there's also a video series. So is it just one episode, like a video documentary on the shootout and the whole process? Any cool stories from the UK or the tracks, or did you meet anyone, tour any F1 factories, anything like that?
I think the whole thing was just a cool story.
True, that's true.
Yeah, we did visit a few factories. It was just an amazing time in general. Like it's unforgettable experience, unreal experience. It was just amazing.
And did you notice any big differences? I mean, I know there's probably lots, but anything that stood out in racing culture in the UK to Canada? Obviously, they're a lot bigger, but maybe on-track stuff, the way people drove.
People were definitely more aggressive than we are here, but I wouldn't say it was like a dirty aggressive. It was aggressive, like you give an inch, they're gonna take two. The racing was so close. It was amazing. If you made one mistake, you're gonna be sent back 3 spots, right? It was so cool.
What are you looking the most forward to this year?
I'm looking forward to the Toronto Indy. That is going to be such a cool event. Just, I don't know. I'm so excited.
Have you been to Honda Indy before, or just as a spectator?
Last year was my first time. My coach Shane is friends with Takuma Sato's manager, and so we got special VIP tickets. We got to go in their pit box with them and in the pits. It was pretty cool to see all those Indy cars up close.
So what would you say from the day you got into a go-kart until now has been one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome?
I think currently the biggest challenge is finding sponsorship. That's what's going to be my brick wall in front of me that's going to stop me from making a career out of motorsports. So I just got to stay on it and keep out there looking for sponsors.
Talk to us a little bit about what that's been like for you so far, and what that entails from your perspective, bringing in sponsorship.
Well, it's tough. There's going to be 1,000 companies that say no and one that says yes. And all you need to do is find that one person who's excited about motorsports, excited to support you, excited for the experience, and hopefully they continue to support you, and both you and the sponsor can grow a relationship throughout your career.
Describe your proudest moment in your racing career.
I think my proudest moment was finding out that I was selected to race for Team Canada. I've worked so hard throughout the past 8 years, through go-karts to cars. I've always tried to be the best. I've always done the best I could. I've tried to keep my head up high through the lows. I enjoyed the highs, and I just try to be likable.
You are.
Yeah, and she just met you. I've raced against you, and I like you. So
that's good that you like me after racing against me.
Exactly. You were one of my favorite people to go into the end of the straightaway wheel to wheel with into turn 8. It's very important to have trust in the other drivers, right? Especially in open wheel. And you and I should say all the Britain West guys too, like good trustworthy going into. So
okay, so this is the last question for you, but think of somebody very similar to yourself who'd be starting karting at a young age or a younger age, 10, 11, 12 years old, trying to make their way. Do you have any advice that you could give?
Well, I kind of mentioned it before, but I think it's important to be likable. I don't know how good of a job I've done. I hope I've done a good job, but there's highs and lows in racing. And like I said, you need to enjoy the highs, but you also need to hold your head high during the lows. You need to stay positive. You can't go around throwing fits and storming around the paddock all angry. You just gotta try to stay happy.
Anybody that you would like to kind of call out or mention or thank, or anything you've got going on that you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
Going back to karting, I need to thank Lon Herder and the whole Herder family, Dan DeLeo, Richard Volk for running the tracks, and Dave Anderson as well. In cars, I need to thank the whole Britain West team, and Peter Dragfee, Shane Yahtzee, and also Brian Graham, Kelly Nielsen, and everyone behind the scenes with the Team Canada Scholarship for making that happen too. There's been so many people involved in my racing career so far, and I'm so excited to keep going.
Where can people follow you online?
You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Jake Cowden Racing.
All right, Jake, thanks again. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Still going bad on you anyway. Whoa, 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 whoa. I can feel like 80 rats in my Marys. Me and Drizzy back to back is